My name is Nathan, 42 years old, Staff Sergeant with the 82nd Airborne. I'd been in Kandahar for 4 months when Becky decided she was done waiting. What she didn't know was that I never start fights, but I always finish them. I got the divorce papers by email while I was still in the desert. 13 years of marriage ended in a PDF attachment. The subject line read, "Let's be adults about this." The message itself was 3 sentences long. She'd already filed the paperwork. She'd already emptied our joint account. She'd already moved her new boyfriend, Jeremy, into our house in Spokane. I read the email twice, closed my laptop, took a shower in the communal stall, got dressed for my shift, and said nothing to anyone. When I got back to my bunk that night, I replied with one word: understood. That was it. No argument, no begging, no threats. Wilson, my bunkmate, noticed something was off. "You good, man?" he asked, not looking up from his book. "Yeah," I said, "just some stuff back home." He nodded, and that was the end of it. Military guys know when to leave things alone. Truth is, I wasn't surprised. 6 months before deployment, things had changed. Small things. Becky stopped asking about my day, started working late at the dental office where she answered phones, started going to the gym 3 times a week, but never seemed to break a sweat. New clothes, new friends I never met, new passwords on her phone. I didn't confront her, didn't start checking her messages or following her around. That's not who I am, but I wasn't blind either. So I made some quiet moves of my own. Nothing dramatic, just precautions. I secured important documents in a storage unit across town. Birth certificate, marriage license, house deed with only my name on it, thanks to the VA loan, military benefits paperwork. I moved my grandfather's watch and my mom's old silver to the same unit. Things that mattered. I also opened a separate account at a different bank and started diverting part of my pay there. Not enough that she'd notice, but enough that I wouldn't be starting from zero if things went south. The night before I deployed, she hugged me at the airport and said, "Stay safe, okay?" Her eyes were dry, like she was saying goodbye to a coworker, not a husband heading to war. I should have known then, but part of me still hoped I was wrong. I wasn't. What she didn't know was that I'd prepared for this moment, and what she didn't understand was that I never start fights, but I do finish them. 2 weeks after getting the divorce email, I was sitting in the mess hall when my phone buzzed. A notification from our bank app. Another withdrawal, $88,500, almost everything that was left. I set my fork down and opened the app. The joint account balance was down to $22.37. Our savings, $47,000 we'd built up over years, was gone completely. Transferred to an account I didn't recognize. Murphy, one of the guys from my unit, glanced over. "Bad news." I locked my phone. "Nah, just some account stuff." That night, I called our bank from the base phone center. Turned out Becky had been moving money for weeks. Small amounts at first, then larger ones. The big transfers started the day after I deployed. I hung up and stood in the hallway for a long time, watching guys laughing, calling their kids, their wives, their parents. Normal life happening all around me while mine was burning down. That's when Wilson found me. "Heard from Alvarez that you looked like you'd seen a ghost at dinner," he said. "What's up?" I don't usually share personal stuff, but Wilson had pulled me out of a bad situation in Kandahar once. I trusted him. "My wife emptied our accounts and moved her boyfriend into our house," I said. "Sent divorce papers while I was on patrol last week." Wilson didn't give me the usual "I'm sorry" or "that's rough" or "you'll find someone better." He just asked, "What's your plan?" "Not sure yet," I said. He nodded. "Let me know if you need anything." That night I couldn't sleep. I pulled out my laptop and logged into our home security system, something Becky probably forgot I could access remotely. The cameras showed a strange truck in our driveway, a man I'd never seen before walking our dog, using my coffee mug, wearing my Seahawks sweatshirt, and there was Becky, laughing in the kitchen I'd renovated myself during my last leave. Something shifted inside me. Not anger exactly, something colder, clearer. I closed the laptop and pulled out my phone, made a list. Call James, Army buddy who became a lawyer. Check the VA loan terms. Contact Master Sergeant about emergency leave. Review home refinance documents, something Becky mentioned casually last year. Check the security on my military pension accounts. I didn't feel sad anymore. I didn't even feel angry. I felt focused, like I was planning a mission. This wasn't about emotion now, this was about strategy. At 0500, before my shift started, I sent an email to James with the subject line, "Need legal help, discreet and urgent." His reply came an hour later, "Call me, secure line only." When I hung up from that call, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I didn't need to yell, I didn't need to threaten, I didn't even need to confront her. I just needed to wait and watch and let her own actions become the trap. 2 months later, I was back on American soil. I didn't tell Becky I was coming home, didn't call, didn't text, just checked into a motel in downtown Spokane under a different name and contacted James. We met at a diner 10 miles outside of town. "You look like hell," he said, sliding into the booth. "Feel like it too," I replied. James handed me a folder, everything we discussed. He pulled out a separate paper. "Found something interesting when I was digging into your finances." It was a refinance application with my signature on it. Except it wasn't my signature. Not quite. Someone had tried to copy it but missed details. The middle initial was wrong, and the stroke pattern wasn't mine. "Becky did this?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. James nodded. 3 months ago, used the equity to pull out $330,000. Your signature is required for that since the VA loan is in your name only. Forge my signature, take out a loan against our house, then clear out our accounts and divorce me, I said. "Busy woman," James replied. "It gets better. She listed her boyfriend as a co-applicant. He's got a record, 2 DUIs and a fraud charge from 2019. I took a deep breath. "What are my options?" "Several," James said. "But first, you need to decide what you want." I thought about it. I want what's legally mine, and I want her to understand consequences. James smiled. "Then here's what we do." The next day, I drove to the bank, met with the loan officer who had processed the refinance, showed him my military ID, showed him the real signature on my driver's license, showed him the forged documents. His face went pale. "I'll need to report this immediately." "I understand," I said. "I've already filed a police report." That night, I got a text from Becky. "Who have you been talking to at the bank? Jeremy said someone was asking questions." I didn't respond. The next day, I went to the county clerk's office, filed paperwork contesting the refinance due to fraud, registered formal notice that no changes to the property could be made without my presence. 2 days later, Becky called. I let it go to voicemail. "Nathan, we need to talk. The bank called about the house. What are you doing? If this is about the divorce, we can discuss it like adults." Like adults. The same words from her email. I still didn't respond. James called that afternoon. "They froze the refinance money, and there's more. Your wife's boyfriend has been driving your truck, right? The one in your name." "Yeah. He got pulled over this morning, driving on a suspended license from those DUIs. They impounded the vehicle." "Good," I said. "He also had some interesting things in the truck. Prescription pads from the dental office where Becky works. They weren't blank." I closed my eyes. "She's been stealing prescription pads?" Looks that way. The police are investigating. I met with the FBI agents at their field office in Spokane, Agent Patel and Agent Donovan. They recorded my statement, took copies of all the documents James and I had gathered. Your case helps establish a pattern, Agent Patel explained. Shows intent, organization, makes it a conspiracy rather than isolated incidents. What about Becky? I asked. My ex-wife? The agents exchanged looks. We're still determining her level of involvement, Donovan said carefully. They asked more questions, took more notes. When we finished, Patel handed me her card. We'll be in touch. In the meantime, don't confront your wife or Ryan. We need to build this case carefully. I nodded. Understood. The federal case moved quickly. Jeremy and Spencer both took plea deals, implicating each other and several other conspirators in what turned out to be a 3-state operation targeting military families. Becky maintained she knew nothing about the larger scheme, said Jeremy had convinced her I was hiding money, planning to leave her with nothing, said the refinance was his idea, she'd just gone along with it. Maybe that was true, maybe it wasn't. Either way, she agreed to a settlement, full restitution of the stolen funds, forfeiture of any claim to the house or my military pension, a signed confession about the forgery. In exchange, I didn't press charges. The divorce was finalized 6 months after that email from Kandahar. No fault, clean break, all things considered. On the day the last paperwork was signed, I got a call from Agent Patel. Jeremy Ryan was sentenced today, 8 years for fraud, conspiracy, and identity theft. Spencer got 12. Thank you, I said. There's something else, she added. We found evidence they've done this to 11 other military families. Your case helped us build the pattern. Those families might get their money back because of you. After we hung up, I sat on the porch of my rental apartment, watching the sunset, thinking about those other families, other men who deployed thinking their homes and marriages were safe, only to come back to emptiness. I hadn't planned on being the one to bring down Jeremy and Spencer's operation. I just wanted what was mine, but sometimes things work out in ways you don't expect. A year later, I sold the house. Couldn't stand to live in it anymore. Too many memories, too much betrayal in those walls. I used the money to buy a small cabin outside of Missoula, Montana. 2 bedrooms, 10 acres of land, a creek running behind it. No neighbors for miles. I took early retirement from the Army. 20 years was enough. I'd given enough. I got a dog, German Shepherd named Scout. Started doing carpentry work for locals. Nothing fancy, but it kept my hands busy and paid the bills. My military pension covered the rest. Sometimes I thought about Becky, wondered where she ended up. James heard she'd moved back to her hometown in Oregon, working at another dental office, starting over, I guess. I didn't hate her anymore. Didn't much feel anything about her, to be honest. She'd made her choices, and so had I. One evening I got a letter from a woman in Fort Worth. Her husband was in the Navy, deployed when Jeremy and Spencer tried to run their scheme on her. The FBI had given her my name as part of the case. You don't know me, she wrote, but you saved our home. Thank you for fighting back when it would have been easier to just walk away. I read it twice, then pinned it to my refrigerator. Some days when the silence got too loud or the memories too sharp, I'd look at that letter and remember that something good had come from all of it. Last I heard, Jeremy was still in prison. Spencer too. The system worked for once. As for me, I was finding my way forward, one quiet day at a time, building something new, something that couldn't be stolen or forged or betrayed, something that was just mine. Sometimes the best revenge isn't dramatic confrontation or elaborate schemes. Sometimes it's simply refusing to be defeated, standing your ground and letting justice take its course. Nathan didn't just get his money back. He helped protect other military families from the same betrayal. In the end, that quiet strength proved more powerful than any anger could have been.